Shalom, Israel. It's going down in Chucktown. The ISUPK Southeast Region presents to you the Black Power Weekend. Here's the lineup. July 4th, the one and only Gerald Muhammad is going to be teaching scripture breakdown classes at Hannibal's Kitchen in downtown Charleston, South Carolina. Let me say it one more time. The Black Power Weekend in Charleston, South Carolina, the weekend of July 4th through the 7th, it's going to be action-packed.
I'm all about the truth, we are not the same.
Friday, July 5th, the ISUPK will be on 21 South Market Street in downtown Charleston, South Carolina, having a camp speaking in front of the slave market. Saturday, July the 6th, the ISUPK will be hosting a cookout at Brittle Bank Park. Yeah, I said it, at Brittle Bank Park in Charleston, South Carolina. Come and get some food and some games and entertainment. Be there, man. Let me say it one more time. The Black Power Weekend in Charleston, South Carolina, the weekend of July 4th through the 7th, it's going to be action-packed. And last but not least, July the 7th, Sunday, the Kemet Killer himself, Captain Tazaryak, will be at Hannibal's Kitchen in Charleston, South Carolina, doing a powerful lecture called Surviving Christianity. You do not want to miss this, man. Book your flights, book your Airbnbs, book your hotels now. And if you have any questions, dial 803-297-1565. That's 803-297-1565. Shalom.
Prophet of the Lord, gotta teach this people, exposing all the lies with the truth. Now they can see the evil, we the lost children of the Lord. Y'all should holler, chopping heads off with my sword. Holy Bible, one west, one west, one west, one west, one west. Definition of a soldier.
Hey man, Phineas, man. Y'all know what time it is, man. Spirit of Phineas on this motherfucker.
What's happening, man?
Definition of a soldier, militant minded, violent, silent, sleeping giant, iron, titan, soaring, flying.
Yeah, Israel. We back in the building. It's another Midwest Fire Weekend. ISUPK presents the 3rd annual Midwest Barbecue, man. And guess what? It's all gonna be hosted by Big Priest, Captain Mawakar.
Israel, all blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, ISUPK, keeping the movement. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We've been teaching the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Indians, their true culture and identity according to the Bible. We are the Lord's chosen people, the Jews of antiquity. We've been teaching this truth on every corner since 1969 under command of General Yohana. Today's the Brotherhood class. Today's topic, what is it, Brock?
Today's topic is the Lord's army is protecting our people from the rainbow bandits.
So basically, today's topic is, and we're gonna keep it in line of Brotherhood, is that the Lord's army, which is the UPK, which is the only people on the planet Earth authorized to teach that Bible. Our job is to protect the fatherless and the widows. You know what I'm saying? Our job is to protect our people from the snares of the devil or the so-called white man, and the other nations that are here to see our demise, that are here to see our destruction. And so, as the truth, what would you call us? The truth bearers,
Defenders of
defenders of the faith, the truth bearers. We're the only ones that can properly bring out this truth to deliver you from the imaginations of the wicked. You know what I'm saying? Let me just put this down real quick. If there's any questions, by all means, ask your questions. Get it out the way now. Get them questions out, Rob. Entice the crowd if you have to.
I'm trying to rock with it right now.
Get them questions out. As y'all know, it's Booty Bandit Month, Gay Pride Month. And you know, we're gonna spend the remainder of this week to, you know, deliver brothers and sisters from that sodomite spirit that's plaguing our people. You know what I mean? You can't even walk around right now without seeing a bunch of rainbow bandits running around. What's the word?
My computer automatically did an update on the chat, so it deleted whatever I was looking at, so I gotta look manually now.
Yeah, look up manually, see if we got any questions.
On Facebook, no questions. If you got questions, ask your questions. You know we got answers. On the YouTube, no questions.
No questions. Are you typing in questions on there?
I'm doing that right now on the YouTube.
Yeah, type that in real quick. Let's get it.
So far, no questions, sir.
So far, no questions. Okay. Let me get Judah Mornith real quick. And 2, I believe.
So what, sir?
Judah Mornith?
I got it, sir.
All right. You just hold that there, right there. Let me just get there with you. Just give it a couple quick secs, see if anyone got questions, and then we're gonna get rocking. Go ahead. So, all right, we're gonna rock out. So, in the state that we're in 2019, in this place that we spiritually call Babylon, or we could spiritually call this place Sodom and Gomorrah, the problem that's going on is that our biggest battle is, you know, corrupt leadership. Our biggest battle is that we don't have righteous leadership to dictate, you know, the Most High's, what the Most High has decreed for His people to basically live. You know what I'm saying? To basically be able to survive in this place, we got to go to our power. And the problem is that the rich in Israel have given us over. You know what I'm saying? And have bargained with our enemies, which has put us in a position of vulnerability. What has put Israel in a position of vulnerability. And so we don't have a defense system in Israel. We don't have any protection or walls to put up. And so these other nations, they can come in and do as they please. They could set up shops in our neighborhood. They could, they could destroy our youth, destroy the strong men in Israel, bind up the strong men, and basically what we have to understand is that when you think about the UPK and the men that are willing to stand and cry out for the abominations that are going on in the land, that is your defense system. You know what I'm saying? That is your wall that you need. But the problem is that because you envy your oppressor and you choose to be like him and you choose his ways, you choose his lifestyle, you attract yourself to his riches and to his glory, which is truly not glory at all. You know what I mean? Now that veil has never been lifted. You know what I'm saying? The same veil that Moses had on his face is the same veil that you have on today. And that veil has never been lifted. And so you in the shadow, you in the darkness, when it comes to basically reality. You know what I'm saying? It almost seems like Israel is in, what was that movie called? La La Land? It almost seems like Israel is in La La Land, in a dream world, where they think one day that they can be equal to their oppressor. They think one day that they can, be content with the gifts that America has to offer. You know what I'm saying? But let's read Jeremiah 14:2.
Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 2. Judah mourneth.
Judah is in mourning. Israel is in mourning today. You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of times when you step outside, the so-called white men and just people in general just want you to always have a smile on your face, right?
Mm-hmm.
They want you to be cheerful, and they wonder why you have a mean mug when you step outside. They wonder why, you're not content with what America has to offer, right? What's the one thing they always say? They're like, well, slavery's, gone, so why are you still talking about slavery? You know what I'm saying? You should be happy. You guys are free. You should be happy. Not knowing that the chain of oppression is still amongst our people. You know what I'm saying? And we've come up with a terrible condition called Stockholm Syndrome, where we so soon forget our history and understanding why our history is important. And time after time, when you truly study the history of the so-called Israelites, not so-called, but you study the true history of the Israelites, the true history of who you would call niggas and spics in America, you'll understand that we always forgot the Lord and we always forgot his law. And so when we forget that, even at the time of Hezekiah, at the time of Asa and the kings of Israel, we always had to, dig into the walls to find the law again. You know what I'm saying? As it was buried, as we was, building groves, and as we were building, things in high places. You know what I'm saying? And worshiping other gods. We always had to come back and find what was buried. And the law will never go away. You know what I'm saying? Christ said, I didn't come to do away with the law. It's something that'll never go away. And so let's fast forward to 2019 now. Now our walls and our defense system is down because of wicked leaders like, our black politicians and the rich in Israel and the preachers that have, mega churches, your TD Jakes, your Creflo Dollars. They've consumed our mind with the lies that the so-called white man has been spewing and has destroyed generations of families. They've consumed our mind with Christianity, which is basically, populating your mind with white supremacy. Let me get Jeremiah 14:2. Go ahead.
Okay. Judah mourners.
So now we're in mourning because of the oppression that's been put in place. We're in mourning because the leadership in the household, in the individual household, the strong man has been binded and has been taken out the picture. You know what I'm saying? The white man has puffed up the black woman to make her believe that she can do it all by herself, that she don't need a man to, put her in her place and to teach her and to guide her. She thinks she can do it all on her own because of the resources that he's given her to elevate into society, to belittle the black man and to kick him down. You know what I'm saying? Basically, she's become a lieutenant of the so-called white man. But go ahead.
And the gates thereof language.
And our gates language. Anyone that has a house, anyone that has a piece of property, the first thing you want to do when you have a piece of property or house is you want to put up walls. You want to put up a gate so nobody just walks on your property. What happens, right, when you don't have a gate on your property?
Your property is no longer protected.
Your property no longer protected. You're susceptible to anyone just walking on your property, right? Now, how do they know, what lines to cross and what lines not to cross?
Because there's a fence.
There's the fence. So a fence is an indication that this is not a property that I can. A fence is an indication that this is private property. And let me tell you something. Israel is private property. You know what I'm saying? That's why the Lord told us to be separate and to be holy. It's because we have to understand that we can't have a begging spirit and allow these other nations to infiltrate our economic growth by the installment of their businesses in our neighborhoods. Because keep in mind, when the East Indians come into our neighborhood, when the so-called Africans come into our neighborhood, keep it going. There's so many different nations that are not in coalition with us. When they come into our neighborhoods and they open up property in our neighborhoods, it's because our leadership sold us out. It's because we don't have nobody to represent us. Because when the Lord said that, we shouldn't elect a king, we shouldn't be out there voting, what you got to understand is that as we're voting for our oppressors to be in charge, our true election is Christ. You know what I'm saying? That's who we should be voting for. You know what I'm saying? But because of that, because we don't want to keep the laws, our gates are down. So now what does that lead to? Here's the problem that's going on right now. This month is what? Gay Pride Month? Gay Pride Month is a sodomite vibe, a homosexual vibe that catches you early on. And what do I mean by early on? It catches you from youth. How? Because there's a program that's put in place, a systematic program that's put in place that because we're in slavery, because our parents have to work 16-hour days, they have no time to figure out what their child is doing within the 8-10 hours that they're in school, let alone after school, right? Now, the father's not in the household, right, when you're dealing with broken families. So how does Satan creep in and infiltrate the mind of your child and effeminize the spirit of your child? Go ahead.
By having them accept effeminate ways at an early age.
Now, what is the root to the accepting part?
The root, you mean the way that they do it?
How can you see the next verse we're going to pull up is Proverbs. Give me Proverbs 22 and 6.
Let me finish.
No, the Gates language is good. We'll just keep it at that.
Okay. What's the next one? Job what?
Proverbs 22 and 6. What is the root to the problem as to why a child can see two flaming homosexuals walk down the street and be influenced by this walking billboard that's walking by? What is the root problem to that? We're gonna get to the source today. I think that's the direction I want to go, and why the UPK is so important, because we're truly the last stance. You know what I'm saying? We're truly the remnant that's actually. You know what? Give me Proverbs 22 and 6.
Proverbs 22 and 6. Oh, I got that, sir.
Go ahead.
Train up a child in the way he should go.
Go ahead. See, if the Bible says train up a child in the way he shall go. Now, let me ask you a question, right? I'm gonna give you two scenarios. Let's say you got a boy, right? You got a baby boy. Who's responsible for training up that child?
Me and my river.
But who has had responsibility of training that child?
Me.
Because who essentially are you training to train that child?
I'm training the woman to train him.
Your child. You know what I'm saying? Now, how are you training your woman?
By teaching.
What are you teaching her though? Teaching her how to. You're teaching her the Lord's law. You're teaching her Christ. You know what I'm saying? You're teaching her to be a decent woman. Because when she's good to you, guess who she's going to be good to?
To the children.
To the children, right? So essentially, you're playing father figure to her and to that child, right? You know what I'm saying? Would you let a child teach another child? Hell no. And women, you have to treat them like children. You know what I'm saying? Because what characteristics do women have that children have that are similar? Emotional, go ahead. Erratic. They like to stomp their feet. They like to, when they don't get their way, what else? We can go down the list with this one, right? So now, by you teaching her, right? By you being her head, now she can what? Teach the children. So there's an order of operation, right? Now, we just talked about boys. What about girls? Who's teaching the girl?
You. Well, still the head of the household.
The head of the household is. The man is. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think the white man has studied us in our behavior and has compiled enough data to understand what it takes to destroy the black family? You do, right? What does it take to destroy the black family?
What it takes to destroy the black family is money or free gifts, whatever you want to call it, and taking the man out the house.
More importantly, what's the first one?
Taking the man out the house.
Taking the man out the house. Meaning binding the strong man. Finish that verse and we're going to get to binding the strong man.
You want me to finish this one?
Yes, I said finish that verse.
And when he is old, he will not depart from it.
And when he is old, he will not depart from it. Meaning this, you should teach your child at a very young age that it's not okay to sword fight with another man. What do I mean by sword fight? I try not to be too graphical, but y'all know what I mean by sword fighting. Meaning, you should teach your child that it's not okay. Like, your child should see you and your child should see you and your woman and how you interact, and you being a model example. That's why it's very important to have the father in the house, because now he sees a model example of how he should do things. And don't get it twisted. Because he sees that model example, don't hold back as a father. If you got to check your woman, check your woman in front of your kids. I don't care how you bark at her, but make sure that your child, whether it's a son or daughter, sees the checking that's going on in the house so they understand. Just don't put your hand on your woman. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. Don't touch her. Don't put your hands on her. But there's a way to check your woman so your children can see an example of who's in charge and how a family should run.
Come.
Go ahead.
Two things real quick, sir. Which count did you want? Did you want Mark or Matthews?
For
Find the strong man.
just pick one because I don't really have a.
The second thing is what you were saying is so heavy because the simple fact is nowadays, because they bind, matter of fact, I'm gonna bring it up after you bring up this point.
Go ahead.
Matthew, chapter 12, verse 29.
Let me finish on train up. Did we finish that? Train up a child the way he should go, and they should not depart from it. Right? Meaning this: the things that you teach a child in the first few years of his life, he will not depart from it. Precept. Let's see if anyone can get this. Nope. Moses. Okay. Why do I bring up Moses? When I say train up a child the way he should go and he should not depart from it, what was Moses' situation?
Moses' situation was he was an Israelite raised in the Egyptian household and customs.
But the first few years of his life, who was he raised with?
His sister.
His mother. His family, he was. Right? Really? The first few years of his life is all he needed to not depart from what his family taught him, even though he grew up in an Egyptian with Egyptian royalty, right? He grew up in the world. He grew up with not having to deal with the oppression that the Israelites are dealing with, right? He grew up with the royal family. But what was the most important part of his upbringing? It was the first few years of his life when he was a child, before he went to go live with Pharaoh's daughter, and in the Egyptian kings. You know what I'm saying? Egyptian royalty. Before that, the first few years is what was critical in Moses' life. That's why when you have a child, understand from the day that child's born, I want to say up to like 6, 7 years old are the most important years of that child's life to teach that child. So that child, what you teaching that child, the child is not going to depart from it when he gets older. You know what I'm saying? And that plays a good matter. So now, if you take out the strong man out the house, if you take out the black man out the house, and you allow that woman to teach that child, you know what she's going to teach that child? She's going to teach that child to what? Hate you. Not knowing that your father is your brother. You see what I'm saying? She's going to teach that child. There's a certain temperament that a woman doesn't have.
Hi guys, I'm gonna complain that y'all talking too loud. So you gotta keep your voice down, thank you.
You said we're talking too loud?
Yes.
Okay.
You gotta complain.
Okay.
I don't want to complain, but you gotta complain.
Okay. You sure it's not what we're talking about? You sure it's not what we're talking about and we're talking too loud? All right. Thank you. Thank you, sis. Okay. The show goes on. But yeah, let's keep rocking.
Count out of one count.
Keep it rolling.
Mark chapter 3, verse 27. No man can enter into a strong man's house.
No man can what?
Enter into a strong man's house.
No man can enter into a strong man's house, right? Keep reading.
And spoil his goods.
And spoil his goods. Go ahead.
Except he will first bind the strong man.
How do you bind the strong man?
By getting rid of him.
By getting rid of him, right? What are some of the things, like, when you think about a strong man, right? You know, listen, you know what I like about this particular precept is that it's telling you that when you a strong man, it's telling you when you are well equipped and you have a level of strength that it's almost impossible to bind, right? What it's telling you is that you can't. You have to be able to find a weakness within that man to be able to bind that man, right?
Okay.
When you think about the black household and you think about the relationship between Jake and Eve, it almost seems like we have, it almost seems like the occurrence of like conflicts that goes between us, it's because there's an influence that the so-called black, listen, there's an influence that the so-called black woman has that when she looks at her man, she sees weakness. You know what I'm saying? And when a black woman, she's like a lioness. And so when she sees that her man is weak, it's usually because her man is too scared to stand up to her. You know what I'm saying? Like, in this truth, we teach men how to be men, right? We teach men how to raise women, too. Raise black and Hispanic women. Meaning this, you'll truly never understand. A woman will always, I'll give you an example. A woman will always say that, oh, you need to stop. That's for all day. What do you think she's gonna tell you? Huh?
Not me.
Not, just in general, what do you think she's gonna tell you?
Get off of it or spend time with me or something like that.
And not have a job. Remember what I just said.
Get up and get a job.
She's gonna kick you down, right? Because the kind of woman you're dealing with is a light woman. A woman that when everything is good, she's riding with you. But the minute things go sour, the minute you lose your job, that woman is going to kick you down. She's going to kick you out the house. She gonna make you sleep on the couch. She ain't gonna ride with you at all. You know what I'm saying? Because the idea, when it comes to Christianity, the idea of gain is godliness. The idea of the love of money and covetousness. She's being influenced and envying her oppressor and what her oppressor has and how the so-called white man's living in America. She's envying what she sees on TV. She has a wicked, so-called best friend that's putting thoughts in her ears and saying, oh, he's not a real man. He should be providing for you. He should be giving you money. He should be doing this. When in actuality, how can a woman determine what a real man is? You know what I'm saying?
She can't.
How the hell can you determine what a real man is? It's like me saying, no, you're not a real woman. Really? You know what I'm saying? So we got to understand that the so-called white man is using devices against us and using our black women to basically to emasculate us, you know what I'm saying? And don't get it twisted, a lot of crimes that we commit is because of women. You know what I'm saying? Our whole MO for getting money is because of women. And that goes to show you the power that women have and the influence that a woman can have towards a man. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Salaka, sir. think this is a perfect segue to bring up the point I was trying to bring up earlier. If you're talking about, you know, the influence of what the influence of a woman has. But let me tell you something, the influence of a man has when it comes to this subject. When that man is bound up, he's no longer in the house, guess what? That internet is not a substitute for it. That TV is not a substitute for it.
That vibrator is not a substitute
That
for it.
vibrator is not a substitute for it. None of that's a substitute for it. That's why your kids are accepting such things. Like, if you remember growing up, I don't know if you remember growing up, but this was the most groundbreaking thing. And you know, nowadays you see a lot of cartoons bringing in homosexuality, right?
Heavy.
But it didn't start nowadays. It started when we were growing up.
Started with Bugs Bunny kissing Elmer Fudd.
Yeah, Bugs Bunny kissing Elmer Fudd. But when it became blatant was in our generation. I don't know if you remember Aunt Patty or Aunt Selma from The Simpsons.
Yeah. She was
when one of the sisters died, the other one came out the closet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that was literally like the first blatant display of LGBTQ, of those rainbow bandits influencing the children, influencing us. We were the first test subjects, and look at our generation now.
I mean, it's even worse because, and I'm glad you brought that up, because, you know, it's you see it time and time again where black men, because of gifts, because of the desire to be rich, they're willing to, you know, they're willing to sell out and wear a dress and program a young man's mind or a young child's mind through, you know, movie antics and the things that they're doing in movies for $1. You know what I'm saying? For the love of money, they're willing to do that, which is evil as all hell. Because, you know, keep in mind, you don't have no one to safeguard your mind from what's coming in. Your mind is like a damn sponge. You know what I'm saying? So it just soaks everything in. A lot of people will tell you, "Oh, you need to be open-minded." Really, you need to be closed-minded. And there's no one, you know, especially if the strong man is bonded and he's taking out the house, there's nobody to really safeguard that child's mind. So when that child sees it, there's no one to really, you know, combat the confusion that it's in that child's mind. So by the time that child gets a little older, he thinks it's okay. He's susceptible to the idea of wearing a dress. And, you know, a lot of black women don't make it any better because they might see their child wear a dress and a shoe one day and they start laughing and think it's cute and funny, right? But yeah, let's get that.
So you brought it, that's another heavy point. A lot of boys, you know what I'm saying, they grow up, you know, because walking around with the big shoes and things is funny. I remember walking around because I already got smacked out of my father's shoes. Started walking around in my mother's shoes. Got smacked out of them. You know what I'm saying? Teaching me not to cross-dress. You know what I'm saying? Now, teaching me to have some integrity, not to, you know, lower my self-image for some jokes, which is something that's lost nowadays too. People would dress like a woman to get a laugh.
And you know what's funny? When a black man does it, you know, behind them big screens, it's even more funnier. You know what I mean? You know what it does when that's promoted? It makes the white man feel like a mightier man. You know what I'm saying? The more he emasculates the strong man, the more he emasculates black men, the more mighty that he feels. You know what I'm saying? As he's parading around being Superman and being Batman and all these damn heroes, here you go. You got a silly Negro with a dress on, right? With a dress on and some stilettos on. You know what I'm saying? But that's our hero, right? That's our hero, though, right?
Okay.
That's who we want to look up to, right?
Okay.
So it's all, you know, I almost want to bring up in John 8:44, but we're gonna fall back on that because there's a lot to be said when it comes to that. But let's go to Isaiah 1:9. I want to bring this up because there's a reason why the Lord has not destroyed this place. You know what I'm saying? As you can tell, you know, the black neighborhood has been infiltrated by the Rainbow Coalition. It has been infiltrated by the booty bandits, as I like to call them. And there's a remnant of, there's a small number of people who the Lord holds dearly at this time, which is the reason why he won't destroy this place just yet. Meaning this, because of the Christian church, because of the doctrines of Catholicism, because of the Roman Catholic Church, what we fail to realize is that when we want to talk about the root of the problem, that is the root of the problem.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you something, right? 9 out of 10 black people grew up a Christian or had some sort of Christian influence in their life.
Okay.
Am I lying?
No, you're not.
9 out of 10, right? It almost, you see, back then, it almost seemed, you know, it almost seemed strange and foreign for you not to go to church, at least as a child. You know what I'm saying?
Salakasha.
Go ahead.
We got a question from Low Key Lolo. A legitimate question.
Low Key Lolo?
Yeah.
Sound like my cousin.
Right? Is El Salvador a part of the 12 tribes or not?
Is he El Salvadorian?
I don't know. This is a YouTube question.
Yes, El Salvador is part of the 12 tribes, but are there some Edomite bloods, you know, leaking in there? Probably. Is there some Spaniards in El Salvador? Probably, but El Salvador is definitely part of the 12 tribes when it comes to, as a whole, as a nation. You know, damn near all of Central America is part of the 12 tribes. El Salvador would be, what's the tribe that we want to associate El Salvador with?
El Salvador would be, same one as Nicaragua.
It's not Zebulon.
It's
Zebulon? Yeah, Zebulon, you know, El Salvador would be part of the tribe of Zebulon. Most definitely. And it's quite close to the Mexicans, so it could have some Issachar influence as well, depending on, you know, how you trace that. But yeah, brother, yeah, Salvadorians, if y'all want to come to class, come to class. Come
The brother said he's not El Salvador. He's not Salvadorian.
Well, you got a woman that's El Salvadorian?
I believe that might be. You know what it all boys.
Yeah, you probably got a woman that's El Salvadorian.
She's just
yeah. Well, put what tribe you from, brother. If you know what tribe you're from.
Low Key Lolo. Put what tribe you from.
All right. But let's keep continuing. But there's a sickening, vile movement that's going on where you gotta understand, right? we're like, Israel is like, we're like something that you can use and abuse and throw away. You know what I'm saying? Meaning this, when you think about Dominican Republic, and you think about Puerto Rico, and you think about, you know, El Salvador, and, you know, some of these Central American countries, and these South American countries, there's a lot of child sex slavery going on, right? And you know, you might be able to, you might watch some documentaries on it and understand that a lot of these child sex slaveries that are going on, the reason why these pedophiles can get away with it, you know what I'm saying, sleeping with little boys and committing vile acts, is because what we mentioned earlier is that that Israel does not have a protection. Israel does not have any leadership that can combat the infiltration of, you know, these the so-called white man's lust. The white man, when he travels to Dominican Republic, he's sleeping with little boys. You know what I'm saying? He's probably a Wall Street broker, or who knows what line of commerce that he's in. But his wealth has far exceeded, you know, his lust has far exceeded his wealth. Meaning this, a lot of times that, especially, you know, when you're dealing with white men, a lot of times when they've accumulated so much money and they traveled the world and they've damn near slept with every woman, there comes a period of time where they get tired of that. You know what I'm saying? They get tired of, they've been to, you know, China a million times. They've been over here, Hawaii, a million times. They've slept with, you know, thousands of women. There comes a time when they get bored. And you know what happens when they get bored?
What happens, sir?
They go for little boys now. To fulfill their lust. There comes a time when your lust will overspill to the point where you're gonna satisfy your lust with a little boy now. And when you go to places like Dominican Republic, Simeonites, who are our people, understand that there's a heavy child sex trafficking going on. Even when you're dealing with the Mexican brothers that are being contained in these facilities, there's definitely a high level of sex trafficking going on with these little boys and these little girls. You know what I'm saying? Where, you know, in some places you see them damn little boys and little girls in some cages somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Instead of that, jump into, give me, just to prove that point, give me Joel 3 and 3.
Job or Joel?
Joel 3 and 3.
J-O-L-E.
J-O-E-L.
Oh, J-O-E-L.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. Listen, there's nothing new under the sun. It's the same thing that the Romans were doing. It's the same thing that the Greeks were doing. You know what I'm saying? Let's find out what the Greeks were doing. Go to Joel.
Right?
Yeah.
Tell ye your children of it.
Hold on, let me get that with you slowly.
Come.
So in Joel 3, the Lord is talking about bringing all nations. He's basically talking about World War III. Bringing all nations to the valley of Jehoshaphat. And he's going to plead with every nation for their people because of what these nations have done. No matter who it was, somehow, some way, they've taken a part in destroying his heritage, or Israel, right? Read verse 3.
Joel 1 verse 3.
3 verse 3.
Oh, 3 verse 3?
Yep.
3 verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people.
What does it mean to cast lots for your people?
Making decisions.
Making decisions. What do you do when you cast a lot?
Shaking up the dice.
Shaking the dice. You gambling for his people. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's going to get him? Let's roll for it. You know what I'm saying? They cast lots for my people. Meaning this, when I talk about our people being heavily involved in child sex slavery, and sometimes you find out that, you know, there's missing black boys and black girls. I ain't trying to be no conspiracy theorist, but, you know, it doesn't hit the, it doesn't hit the news half the time. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The Amber Alert, who was Amber? Was Amber a little black girl or a little white girl?
A white girl.
Amber was a little white girl. It don't hit the news half the time. But understand that our people, that these other nations and these vile, disgusted sodomites have cast lots for our people. You know what I'm saying? Because they know we don't have no protection. You know what I'm saying? That's why the police can kill black people and get away with it. Let a police officer kill a Chinese man and see if all of China and all their imports stop coming to America. They shut down American, what was it, American Airlines or Delta? They shut down one of them airlines because some Chinese dentist got dragged across the airline. But you harm one of the Lord's chosen people. You harm a black man, they ain't shutting down no damn airlines. There'll be no justification for what happens to us. Keep reading.
Con out of one con. And have given a boy for an harlot.
What is a harlot?
A prostitute.
They've given a boy for a prostitute. You know what I'm saying? This is Gay Pride Month, right? Sodomy is a violent act. Yo, sodomy is a violent act. You know what I'm saying? It says this, that the kingdom of heaven is taken by force, by violence. You know what I'm saying? Keep reading.
And given and sold a girl for wine. That they might drink.
That they might drink. They said they sold a girl for wine. A little girl they sold for wine. You know what I'm saying? That's what's Rob, you think it's still not going on today?
Kind of is, sir.
That they're not selling boys for a harlot? That there's like, you telling me there's not little Mexican boys in the cage somewhere?
A lot of it.
Go ahead.
It's going on to the point where it's easy to know because, you know what I'm saying, you got crackheads selling their kids on a daily basis.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. You're so right about that.
But it's funny, like I was about to read a verse that I thought you wanted me to go to with Joel 1 and 3. And
no, just go to it.
Kind of
you have it. Why would you?
Something that y'all must know is Joel 1 and 3. Tell your children of it, and let your children tell their children, and their children another generation. So pass this down. Let your children remember all these crimes that's being brought against us. You know what I'm saying? Let them know so they can learn from our mistakes, our past.
Yep.
And so that they won't end up being sold for harlots too.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Where there's a word for that. When you're just out for grabs. You know what I'm saying? There's no to sell a little girl for wine. Good night. How much does wine cost?
It's very cheap.
You know what I'm saying? To sell a little girl for a bottle of wine? So this little girl is worth the value of a bottle of wine. You see you see the problem here? Like, this is why Christians are so wicked and they're so prideful. They don't care about the fatherless and widow. But the Most High cares about the fatherless and widows.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Israel is plagued with widows. Why do I say that?
Because we're dying.
We're dying, right?
Yeah.
That's why when you read Isaiah 4:1, what does it say?
Isaiah.
What does Isaiah 4:1 say?
Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1.
Go ahead.
And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man.
Why is 7 women taking hold of one man?
Because there's barely any men around.
Read the verse before that.
This verse 1, sir.
No, read the verse before that.
Oh,
the chapter before that.
3 and 26.
Go ahead.
And her gates shall lament and mourn.
And her what?
Gates shall lament
and mourn. Go ahead.
And she being desolate shall sit upon the ground.
She said, give me one before that. What's the one before that?
Thy men shall fall by the sword.
Thy men shall what?
Fall by the sword.
Listen, thy men shall fall by the sword. Why is our men falling by the sword?
Because our enemies are killing us. They're polluting our minds.
Why is our enemies able to kill us?
Because we wasn't taught right.
Because of the Christian church.
Okay.
That's why, man. You know why? Because the Christian church said, taught your stupid mama and your stupid grandma that the law is done away with. Right? Taught your stupid mama and your stupid grandma that you don't have to follow the Old Testament. We don't have, you know what I'm saying? It's by grace. Honey child, you can eat pork now. The Lord did away with all that.
Okay.
That's why. You know what I'm saying? That was the biggest weapon used against us, was Christianity.
Okay.
And who implemented it? The so-called white man. Because of the gifts. I need the scripture where it talks about the gift destroyed the heart.
Oh, yeah.
So now, understand, right? 7 women are fighting against one man. You know why 7 women fighting against one man? Because your preacher told that woman that she can do it all by herself. That she, thou art lucid, right? Is that what they say?
No.
Right? Thou art lucid. Your preacher told your woman that. Your preacher is the reason why that pimp behind the pulpit is the reason why your woman kicks you out the house. It's the reason why your daddy wasn't around. Because listen, to be honest, if your daddy was around, he would have caught a body.
Okay.
He would have choked your mother to death. It was good that your daddy wasn't around. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
At least you still have a chance to see the brother. He would have been doing life in jail because of that monster that he's been living with. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes 7:7.
Go ahead.
Surely oppression maketh the wise man mad.
Listen, why do you think we mad in the UPK right now, man? I walk outside, I gotta see rainbows all day. How you gonna take what the Lord put in place as a sign for us, as a covenant, and you gonna take what the Lord put in place and make it
Representation.
a representation of something vile and disgusting?
Huh.
I can't even rock a million colors right now. If I wanted to do a couple of shirts with a couple of different colors, I couldn't do that right now. Because I will be considered a proud supporter of the men's sword fighting movement. But go ahead.
Rainbow Bandit.
Rainbow Bandit. Salaki, Rainbow Bandit.
What color was Joseph's coat?
He had a lot of colors.
Exactly.
He was shining with colors.
Okay, so that's
To the point where his brothers were jealous when they seen that coat. They're like, dang, we gotta take this nigga out. We gotta take this nigga out. But yeah, the reason why I brought up the 7 women taking hold of one man is because them women are trying to take away their reproach. Because there's gonna come a time when black women are gonna understand that if I don't have a man in the house, Uncle Willie's gonna come in there and molest his child. If I don't have a man in the house, the next man that I have actually be even more descriptive. If I don't have a UPK man in my house, a man of the Lord in my house, the next man that I'm going to bring in here is going to molest my child. He's going to rape my child. He's going to bring that sodomite spirit into my house. You ever heard of homo thugging?
Concept.
You know when I truly saw what homo thugging was in New York. When I realized that there's a lot of thugs out there in New York. You know, different parts of the country too, but in New York, there's a lot of homo thugging going on out there. A lot. You might not realize it, right? Go ahead. You guys on?
I actually got 2 things to say.
Give me the 2.
When you brought up Ecclesiastes 7:7, oppression maketh a wise man mad. If you're not mad, because you're obviously being oppressed, you're not wise. But that was just a side note. But what I want to bring up is what you just brought up with the 7 women. You said take away the reproach. This is actually a question. What is their reproach?
For those 7 women?
Yes. For women in general.
So basically, for those 7 women, their reproach is understand this, right? When you don't have a man in the house, right? Women, all right, black women today, right? Are they not winning today?
Okay.
They're winning. They're buying their what? What is it? Keep reading on that. Let's keep reading.
And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man.
Go ahead.
Saying, we will eat our own bread.
He said, we will eat our own bread. I'll buy my own food. You ain't gotta see the idea that you're not a man unless you take care of your woman. You're not a man unless you take care of your children. What did she say?
We will buy our we will eat our own bread.
She said, man, you ain't gotta buy me no food. You ain't gotta pay the bill at the end of the dinner date. I'll pay the bill. Go ahead.
And wear our own apparel.
And wear what?
Our own apparel.
And wear our own apparel. Meaning you ain't gotta buy me no clothes. You ain't gotta deck me out. I'll buy my own clothes. Go ahead.
Only let us be called by thy name.
And only let us be called by thy what?
Name.
Let me tell you something. You better be happy. I'm glad I said that kind of loud so they can hear me. You better be happy that a UPK man takes you into his fold.
Okay.
Listen. You sisters out there think that Jesus is your husband, right? What the hell would Jesus want with you, with your high mileage ass?
Super high.
You got about 300,000 on your tank. What's he gonna do with you? He's your husband, right?
A lot of parts exchange.
Listen, a priest and prophet of the Lord, if you slept with just one man before him, you are unworthy of that priest and prophet of the Lord.
Okay.
So what is your reproach?
Their past.
You done slept with the whole block. Now you want to come to something that's holy? Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? I had a question earlier this week, while I was trying to get some smoke on the book. A chick brought up, hey, I was talking about weed. Nobody has done anything.
Oh, I remember that post.
Yeah, nobody has done anything for weed. And I know girls who have, got trains ran on them for a nickel bag or a dime bag. Yeah.
Just to be able to smoke with niggas.
Yeah, just to be able to smoke with cats. Come on, son.
Yeah, I understand.
That's their reproach. You know what I'm saying? That's their reproach. They are willing to do anything for the wrong man. They should do anything for their man.
And their other reproach, actually pull up the word reproach. That's what you got to pull up. If you want me to get it, I can get it for you real quick.
You want the dictionary or you want something else?
Give me the dictionary of reproach.
Okay.
Pull up the word reproach. That way the crowd, the audience knows exactly what you're talking about. Why are these women, why are 7 women fighting over one man? Here's the problem. Half the men are homosexuals and sodomites and effeminate. That, you know what I'm saying? Half the men are those. The other half are in prison. So now you've run out of resources. You've run out of men. You know what I'm saying? So now what do you got to do? And the other half are dying by police on the streets. You know what I'm saying? If they're not in jail, if they're not a homosexual, they're being shot by the cops. Right? So what option do you have at this time?
So like I said, reproach is not in my Bible dictionary.
No, I didn't say Bible dictionary. Just give me Merriam. The definition.
Okay, the Merriam. Kind I don't want to come.
There's a word that I'm looking for. It starts with an S when it talks about reproach. If you know it online, let me know. It starts with an S when it describes a woman. You got it?
My phone's loading up now, sir. Okay, reproach. In the Merriam-Webster dictionary. You know what I'm saying? An expression of rebuke or disapproval.
An expression of what?
Rebuke or disapproval.
Go ahead.
The act or action of reproaching or disapproving.
Give me the next one after that.
A cause of occasion of blame.
Go ahead.
Discredit.
Go ahead.
Or disgrace.
You know what the S word I'm looking for? A shameless woman.
Huh.
That's what I'm looking for. A shameless woman. Let me tell you something, right? You go to that woman's father and you ask that woman's hand for marriage, he don't need no dowry. Just take her. You know what I'm saying? Somebody gotta take her. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of black men don't want to stay with black women because of what? Because of their reproach, because of their shame, because they're shameless. You know what I'm saying? Give me, let me get Ecclesiastes, right? Give me Ecclesiastes 42 and 11.
Ecclesiasticus?
Yeah, 42 and 11.
Ecclesiasticus, chapter 42, verse 11. And it reads, keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter.
Listen, you better keep your eyes on the prize. Listen. There's a reason why, let me tell you something. There's a reason why Lot knew that his two daughters were a prize. There's a reason why Lot knew that his two daughters were when the two angels came into Lot's house, right?
Huh.
The Lord was testing Lot to see if he would protect those two angels from the Sodomites and their violent approach as they were trying to enter into Lot's house to pull out the two angels that came into his house. And Lot gave his two most prized possessions. And you know what that was? His daughters. Because his daughters have never known a man. So he gave his two most prized possessions. He was willing to give them up to protect these men right here, right? So listen, understand this, that you have to keep, the Bible talks about keeping your daughter, keeping her straightly, meaning don't allow your daughter to abuse herself with overmuch liberty. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to be able to bow down her head. You know what I'm saying? Don't go having her prancing around and just being free with it, just do what she wants. Most women that go to school, most women that go to college, they're sleeping with every man on their campus. They got overmuch liberty. Then they leave college, and then now they start their career, and they're sleeping with niggas up until the point where that clock starts ticking, and then they're like, you know what? I need to trap somebody now. I need to find me a husband. But go ahead.
Giving your daughters that overmuch liberty, letting them run wild, letting them run free, that builds up a masculine attitude.
Sure does.
You know what I'm saying? So don't be surprised that you let your daughter do what she wants to do. Thinking that she's a so-called queen. You know what I'm saying? That she ends up being a so-called lesbian.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you letting her gain this masculine rulership attitude, she's gonna end up, trying to portray that lifestyle.
That's right. Let's keep reading on that. That's right. You're right about that.
Kind under one kind. Keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter, lest she make thee a laughing stock to thine enemies.
Let me tell you something. That woman gonna make you that little girl, that precious little girl that you held in your arms, 25 years back. She gonna make you a laughing stock to the enemy. She's going to be smoking weed with a bunch of niggas, and they're gonna be running trains on her. So now, this woman, your enemies are gonna know about your daughter, and she's gonna be a laughing stock. You're gonna be a laughing stock to your enemies. They're gonna know that your daughter's a whore, and your daughter's been a whore in Zion, in Israel. Go ahead.
So like I said, it might just be more than just the story that makes you laughing stock. The enemy might actually be participating You know what I'm saying? How many? Look at Serena Williams' father. Look at Venus Williams' father. He is, to us, he's not livestock because he's fully against what they're doing, but they both with the enemy. They're both sleeping with the enemy right now. You know what I'm saying? They are both those shameless daughters that he raised not to sleep with them.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So now he's being ashamed because of his daughters.
That's right. That's right. And there's the next part. Read the next part. Keep reading.
Count out on count. Salaki said, what verse is that?
It says, a laughing stock to thine enemies. Ecclesiasticus 42 and 11.
Count. And a byword in the city.
What's a byword?
Is calling you out of your name.
Yeah.
Count.
Oh. You know what I'm saying? All kinds of a byword is something that you're known for. You know what I'm saying? Like, or the stigma of it. You know what I'm saying? The representation of it. You know what I'm saying? That's what a byword is like when heathens say that all black people love chicken. Yeah.
Could a byword be more equated to a reputation?
Yeah, reputation, exactly. Reputation of what you have, right?
Okay.
Go ahead.
In the city, and a reproach among the people.
And now what does it say? And a reproach among the people. Keep that in mind. What does that mean?
That your own people
have shamed you.
Have shamed you. Yeah, they look at you in an ill way now because you're her father.
Listen, when they see your father, what about your daughter? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Your reputation, because of your daughters, people are laughing at you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And you know what? Israel will do that to feel better about their daughter, even though their daughters are shameless as well. But they'll use your daughter to make you a laughing stock, even though you've acquired a reputation as who you are. Your daughters can affect your reputation in the city. Go ahead.
Slocky, just to what you literally just said, to flip it on the daughters and make them understand that your father's reputation, you protecting that reputation gives you a better reputation.
Yeah, because you know what? A man will go and seek your daughter, another one of your daughters, and will see the reputation, and will see your other daughter and her reproach, and they'll be like, hell no, I ain't mess with your daughters.
Right? Just off of one daughter.
I'm not going to your house with that.
Like, this one's good, but I don't know if she's gonna flip later.
Yeah, exactly.
She might flip later. It'd be like her sister.
But let me back up.
There's more on this, sir.
Go ahead. Is there a little more?
And make thee ashamed before the multitude.
And make thee ashamed before the multitude. Man, you can't even walk around. Hey, listen, no man wants to see their daughter a whore, man. You know what? Give me and no man wants to see their daughter a lesbian. Right. That's an even worse shame. But let alone your daughter, your son, a sodomite. Hold that real quick. Just give me, just get to, and then you can spill it out.
So like, this is on this verse, though.
No, I'm not going to leave it. I just want you to get to, Slovakia. Deuteronomy 23 and 17. Hold that, but just tell me what you're about to say.
Deuteronomy 23 and 17.
Don't read that. Just tell me what you're about to say.
To go on that point, how your daughter could bring a hell of a lot of shame. There's a modern day example of that. There's a famous actor named Lawrence Fishburne.
Go ahead. I want to hear this.
All right, Lawrence Fishburne, famous actor. You know him from the Matrix and all that. He is Morpheus.
Oh,
right?
I heard about it.
His daughter went into doing porn because she sucked as an actress. She went into doing porn.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And brought much shame upon him.
Yeah, listen, Lawrence Fishburne is if he dies, he's gonna be rolling over his grave. He got to take that to his deathbed.
He got to take it to his death because it's not even that she went to do porn. She did it, and
I'm gonna take off my glasses on this one. Can I do this?
Y'all about to hear a lot about
I gotta,
old man here.
No, I gotta take my glasses off. If your daughter's a porn star, I'm done now. I'll just say that right now. If your daughter's a porn star, now
It's a lot.
I'm gonna hide myself in the rocks somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Listen. I'm going to disown that little girl that was a little princess when she was a baby.
Okay.
My daughter's a porn star now. Now, I mean, hopefully she,
And that's how you should know that he was bound. He did not reject her. He did not, you know what I'm saying, cast her out. He did that old Christian stuff, you know what I'm saying? Oh, my baby, then baby girl, in hopes that she'll get out of it. But she made like 3 videos.
Listen, you turn your back on that little girl, now she a grown woman now, you doing porn, you grown.
Yeah, she grown.
She ain't your little girl no more. And you wait till she come back. And the problem is Lawrence Fishburne, he's not in the truth.
Okay. He's bound up. He's
So,
a strong man bound
listen,
up.
if you ain't in this body right here, and this is me telling you that we are the home of the truth. Lawrence Fishburne should be in class right now,
Come.
understanding that because you didn't know the Most High, it's affected your children.
Come.
So now she's not only doing straight porn, she's doing gay porn too.
Yep.
She's doing lesbian porn too. You think you in the porn industry, you're not doing no lesbian? You doing girl on girl.
It's impossible. Sir.
Come on, man. You gotta be out your mind. You gotta be out your mind, man. Give me Deuteronomy. Let's get to the law, which is what you Christians run from all the time. Let's get to the law, please.
You said Deuteronomy 23:6.
Give me Deuteronomy 23:17.
17. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel.
Hey, say it again.
There shall be no whores of the daughters.
Listen, if you're a black, Hispanic, or so-called Native Indian, there shall be no whores in this nation right here, man. I'm saying the UPK is here to get that whore's spirit out of you. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you've done in the past, you can always come here. Black woman, Hispanic woman, you can always come to the school and be a new woman, and nobody will ever bring it up. You are not coming here with your reproach. You are coming here to be delivered from that horror spirit that you got on you, so you can be a new woman, a new creature, so we can kill that whore that you was in the world, and so you can be a daughter of Zion, a true princess of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Keep reading.
Come, I don't want to come. Nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel.
And nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel. Let me tell you something. It's sad that sometimes I look at little kids sometimes, little children, and I'll see their demeanor and their mannerism, and there's a glimpse in my mind that this child could be a sodomite one day. You ever get that? You look at a parent and their child, right? You see how they kind of switch a little. The subtleness of their switching up and down the street gives you an indication that this kid might be a sodomite one day. The effeminate, the softness and the effeminism that a child has received, or that the child is, can give you a clear indication that this child might be a sodomite one day. Right? That something crept in unaware. And this child might be prone to sodomy. You know what I'm saying? And it hurts me because when I see that, I say, and I look at the situation, it's always when the woman don't have a man in the household. Because listen, you know no man in the UPK ain't gonna put up with no child being all soft as hell, man. You gonna damn near box your child at 5 years old. You put up your hands, nigga.
Salaka, sir. For example, you know I like to bring my personal life into shit.
Go ahead.
My youngest son, he's not soft, but he does something a little weird, but I just found out recently is common to today.
Okay.
All he wants to do is stay inside and play video games and watch YouTube videos online.
He a tent dweller.
He's a tent dog.
That's Israel. Yeah.
I'm trying to kick him out and, go socialize. You know what I'm saying?
This new generation,
I don't.
forget about it.
Yeah.
Socialize. I gotta go outside. Talk to people. Hold up. I can't talk to you two?
So imagine me willing to kick him out over not socializing compared to him being a homosexual.
Okay.
It's not even a question. He's just out.
Yeah. He sees his father's demeanor, and that's what kids pick up on. You know what I'm saying? They need that toxic masculinity in the household. That's what these children need. When the toxic masculinity is done and away with, and your mother got some silly, stupid, I ain't gonna bash y'all women too much. You got some silly ass women in the house with her talking all kinds of nonsense, and this is all you're used to. There's no man in the house. She got to get you 7, 8 stepfathers. By the time you're 10, you had about 7, 8 stepfathers. That's what you got to go through. Uncles, yeah. But that's your uncle. And then you hear all kinds of noise in the room, all kinds of ruckus. The headboard hitting the back of the wall, but that's uncle, right? You wonder what your mommy doing with your uncle in that room, for 30 seconds. Yeah, let's get it going, man. Let's get knee deep into this, man. We got time. We got about 15 minutes. All right, let me get Salaki,
sir.
Yep.
Sorry to take away from your info, but that brother Low-Key Lolo.
Yeah, what you said? What's up, Low-Key?
He said, Low-Key Lolo's a Levite.
Okay.
But he said, what advice?
All right. Get a little Levite love in there.
What advice would you give to someone whose father's passed and doesn't have backup? A strong masculine man in the house.
Okay.
That's too broad.
No, that's perfect. He said, what advice would you give if your father passed?
No. It's not. No, that's not what he said. It's someone. Or what advice would you give to someone whose father passed?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, not him particular.
Not him particular. Okay.
But someone whose father's passed, right?
Yeah.
So now, let me ask you a question. Lola, what is his name?
It's Low-Key Lolo.
I also asked Low-Key Lolo, what city is he from? Is he coming to class?
Low-Key Lolo, what city are you from, or are you coming to class?
Meaning the class that's in your city.
He on YouTube, so I can't reply to him directly.
All right, no, that's just fine. Just kind of, whatever. But here's the problem, right? Here's the situation. When your father, let's say your father passes, 2, 3 years old, 5 years old, or whatever, right? Father passed away. If your father was still alive, right? Let me ask you a question, right? How would you have turned out?
Me personally?
No. I'm saying you personally. Focus on what the brother has asked, right? How would you have turned out, especially if your father was not in the truth?
Just like my father.
Just like your father? Right?
Whatever he went through, I would end up going through it because he wasn't there to teach me not to go through it.
Now, a lot of people I'll give you an example. A lot of people that don't have their father, that didn't grow up with their father, and their father's still alive, would it have made a difference whether their father was there or not in regards to them, in regards to them when it comes to the truth?
But when it comes to the truth, no.
You know the difference?
No.
If your father was there or not, listen, are there men in jail that have lived with their father their whole time, their whole life? There are men in prison that have lived with their father. Yes, there is men in prison that have lived with their father.
Come.
Are there men in prison that have lived with their father and still sell drugs?
Come.
Come, right? Are there men in prison or just sell drugs that haven't lived with their father?
Come.
Come, right? You are still under the curse of the law.
Come.
Do you pay for the sins of your father?
Come.
Right? Or do you pay for the sins of what you do, what you're doing? It's your question.
It is a trick question.
And I want to get the precept to that. Right? Why is this school important?
Because we become the fathers to the fatherless.
The fathers that we have in the school, they are spiritual fathers, right?
Come.
Your father in the world, whether he was there or not, whether he was alive or dead, he would have still ended up selling drugs.
Come.
You would have still ended up in prison.
Come.
You would have still ended up being a homosexual. You would have still ended up being a wicked person in the sight of the Lord, right?
Come.
Is that not the case?
That's definitely the case.
Go ahead.
Come, I don't want to come. There shall be no whores in the daughters of Israel, nor sodomite of the sons of Israel. Thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore.
No, don't even read that far, right? Here's what I'm saying is this, just to finish off with his point, is that whether your father was there or not, listen, you would have still grew up eating pork, shrimp, crab, lobster. You would have still grew up selling drugs because you are under a curse. And how do you lift that curse? We brought it up yesterday. There's only one way to lift that curse. By following Christ. Really, by following Christ. Some people say, I don't eat pork, shrimp, crab, lobster, but I'm an Old Testament Israelite. Am I wrong? Some people say that, right?
You're absolutely right, sir.
You gotta listen. Christ is the reason why we can be redeemed back to the Most High, right? Give me. I was gonna bring this up the other day. It's funny I brought this up earlier. Low-key, pay attention to this, right? Give me. Give me, I want...
Clock says 10 more minutes.
That's fine, yeah, we're going. This class can be 2 days, and it'll never be done. So much you can bring out for class. It's crazy. But for the sake of low-key, give me... Lock it. Bear with me. Let me just get this real quick. If I can find it.
So, sir.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, may I actually respond to his question?
Go ahead.
All right. You wondering what advice can you give someone who lost that strong man. That strong man's bound up, he might be in jail, strung out, whatever. Guess what you do? You get up in this school and become that strong man. So you can guide that brother who don't have that strong man properly. If you don't come into the school, guess what? You're not strong. You're a Christian like everybody else. You're Muslim, you're whatever. You are everything that has been proven to fail. The ISUPK has not failed. We are those strong men. We got strong families. We got families that go through a hell of a tragedy. Hell of a tragedy. And they are still together strong. You know what I'm saying? And that can only happen in the UPK. Let somebody have, in the world, for example, a stillborn baby. That shakes marriages. Not in the UPK. You know what I'm saying? Stillborns don't shake marriages in the UPK.
Another thing I want to bring up, right? Your father, right? He's there to rule over you up to a certain point when you become a man, right? Is he not there to rule over you? You follow his rules, you follow his guidance, right? Whether it's righteous or not, he's your main influence in the household, right? Hebrews chapter 13, verse 7. Low key, pay attention to this, all right? Doesn't necessarily have to apply to you, but whoever you're talking about, pay attention to this. The problem is that Israelites don't want someone to rule over them. What do I mean by rule over them? I ain't talking about no slave-master relationship. Someone that can be your spiritual father. Someone that can guide your soul. You don't go out and sleep with a Jezebel, to go with some wicked woman that got AIDS. So now you in the AIDS wards. You know, so you don't go out and make a silly mistake where the Most High gotta take you out. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Hebrews 13, verse 7.
Right.
Remember them which have rule, remember them which have the rule over you.
Whoa. So you're telling me that I can't go straight to God, that there's men that have rule over me?
Salaki, sir.
Yeah.
It says the rule. That's a specific rule.
Yep. Go ahead.
Who has spoken unto you the word of power of God.
Listen, these are the men you have to remember. You know what I'm saying? You might not have your father, right, to remember what he's taught you, but remember those men that have the rule over you. You know what the rule is? What is it?
The rule is those who are, how can I put it? Higher rank than you.
Higher rank, an authority over you. It's an authority. It's a power. It's a rank structure over you, because these are the men that are going to help you. Just like your father had the rule over you. That's why. Just like your father had the authority over you. Remember those men that have the rule over you. Go ahead.
Whose faith follows.
Whose what?
Whose faith follows.
Why are Christians saying you shouldn't follow no man? When the Bible is saying, remember those that have the rule over you, whose faith follows, meaning their works, you follow their works. Go ahead.
Considering the end of their conversation.
Listen, consider every word that those men are telling you. The men in the UPK are the men that should have rule over you. The rule over you. The men in the UPK, the elders in the UPK should be the ones that you should follow. Follow their faith and their works so you can live. So you don't have to die outside of the walls of this place. Right? Your father, what is he here to do? He's here to protect you. So you don't die when you go out into the world, right? But the problem is that our fathers have done a poor job protecting us because they didn't know the Most High. They served Balaam. They were Christians. They were Muslims. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Yahweh Shai HaMashiach the same yesterday and today.
Go ahead.
And forever.
And Yahweh Shai has never changed. You know what I'm saying? He's never changed. You know what I'm saying? The laws that he kept, they have never gone away. He's fulfilled them. Go ahead.
Salaki, sir. Yahweh Shai never changed. Right?
The Most High never changed.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm going to go to. So if the Most High never changed, who Yahweh Shai was following, he was following his father. That means these laws are still here.
Listen, you tell Christians that, you know what Christians are going to say? Well, Christ is God.
Okay.
That's the problem. That's the battle in the Christian's mind. They don't have the separation between the Father and the Son. They still on the whole Trinity doctrine, which is what we're about to get into next. Verse 9. Keep reading.
Verse 9. Be not carried about with diverse and strange doctrines.
Listen, the doctrines that the Catholics have been giving you, the doctrines that these Christian preachers have been giving you, is diverse and strange doctrines. That's what the minute you say that Christ was not a man and that Christ was the Most High, that's a strange and diverse doctrine. Go ahead.
And as soon as you say that homosexuality is now accepted by God, that's a strange
doctrine. And we can go all day with these strange doctrines that we got. But go ahead.
For it is a good thing that the heart be established with grace, not with meats, which have not profited them that have been occupied therein.
Go ahead, keep reading.
We have an altar, thereof they have no right to eat, which serve the tabernacle. Whoa.
Get real, right?
That got real as hell.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that, but that got
Go
real. Ahead. For the bodies of those beasts whose blood is brought into the sanctuary by the high priest for sin are burned without the camp.
Meaning outside the camp, it's burned, right? Keep reading.
Wherefore Yahushua also, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood, suffered without the gate.
Meaning suffered what? Outside the gate. When Christ went to be what? When he went to be sacrificed, where did they take him? They took him outside the gate, right? That's why I told you that everything that the Old Testament has to do with is a foreshadow of things to come. It was always about Christ.
Language.
It was always about Christ. It's always been about Christ. Keep reading.
Kind on kind. Let us go to
jump to we gotta get right to the meat of it. Jump to verse 17.
Obey them that have the rule over you.
Uh-oh. What did it just say?
Obey them which have the rule over you.
Let me tell you something. When your father was around, if your father was ever around, you were to obey him. Guess what? When your father's not around, guess what? When you come into the school, you have new spiritual fathers. And you obey them that what?
Have the rule over you.
Have the rule over you. Because those men are going to teach you that it's not okay to sell drugs, which is a righteous thing. They're going to teach you that it's not okay to sleep with whores, which is a righteous thing. They're teaching you things that are here to make you live. You know why they have to teach you that? Keep reading.
For they
have rule over you. Keep reading.
Oh, and submit yourselves.
And you submit yourselves unto those men. You know what I'm saying? Who said you didn't have to follow man? When you read in Hebrews, it says what? Obey them
which have rule over you.
The Lord has put men over you to rule over you that would have did a better job than your father, who was not in the truth. You know what I'm saying? No matter if you grew up with a father or your father died at birth, no matter what, the Lord was going to put men over you that you need to obey, that have rule over you. Go ahead and submit yourselves to those men. Keep reading.
For they watch for your souls.
So now, you want protection? These are the men that are going to watch for your souls. They're going to make sure your child does not become a sodomite. And they're going to teach you how to train your child so your child don't become a sodomite and walk around a gay pride day with a bunch of grown men and children naked. That's what they're doing over there.
Come. Fully.
Go ahead.
Come. And as they that must give account.
They must give account for the things that they're doing too. See, there's a responsibility that comes when you rule over somebody. You got to give account to the person that put you in charge of ruling over that person. Go ahead.
So that proves that the person that rules over you is ruled over somebody else, which is rank and order.
They got to report to Christ on this.
Okay.
The men that are in the UPK, the generals, the captains, and the officers that are over you, they got to give account, and it has to go up. And now Christ has to give account to the Most High after he's received all that he's received from the angels that watch over the church. Go ahead.
That they may do it with joy.
And it's a grievous thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do to watch over men's souls, but you have to do it with joy. To know that these men that you're watching over is men that you're protecting their families. That's why a person like Captain Katazar is, in Boston, he's responsible for who?
All of us.
For the men under him. When we have a problem, guess what? He got a problem.
Okay.
And guess when he has a problem, guess who has a problem? The general over him. And he has a problem. And guess with the general over him, when he has a problem, guess who has a problem? Commander General Yohana has a problem. And Commander General Yohana does not have any problems.
Okay.
Remember that. Go ahead.
And not with grief.
And not with what?
Grief.
You got to do this with joy. The fact that you protecting the soldiers under you, do it with joy and not with grief, like it's a burden to protect the men under you. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
For that is unprofitable for you.
It is unprofitable for you. We're going to leave it at that. But here's what I'm saying is this. It's that because we don't have righteous leadership in Israel, because you look at the men in the UPK and you look at the preaching that we're doing, listen, the Bible says this, for the foolishness of preaching is how I'll save my people.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And guess what we're going to do this whole month?
Foolishly preach.
And we're going to preach against what?
Principality.
We're going to preach against those that are trying to harm the fatherless and the widows. Those that are trying to bring a sodomite vibe, a homosexual vibe into the black community. We're going to preach against the pedophiles. We're going to preach against the forces that are at work that are trying to harm our children and our people. You know what I'm saying? And with that, we're going to end the class. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Fight against the booty bandits, the Rambo Coalition. This weekend is the South Carolina cookout? Yeah, so this weekend is the South Carolina cookout. For those that are